Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troller. 1972 to 1975.
Game 542, Cubs at Las Vegas. Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1972-75 Carryover League. We're continuing in the race for the pennant. Second round tournament action, battle of first place teams across division, National League. In the middle divisions, the Cubs and Las Vegas. Improbable first place teams at the present time, we'd think. Let's take a look first at the mission of the two squads. What has to happen here in the tournament? We'll go to the here we are down here, Vegas and the Cubs. So these are friendlies, sometimes called, meaning that you don't get eliminated when first place teams meet in the second round of the tournament. You could fall in a second place, perhaps, maybe even third place, but not out of the tournament completely. So, or at least mathematically, it doesn't seem that's never happened before in the 20 years I've done it. So anyway, Vegas is 4 over 500. The Cubs 8 over. That's a difference of 2 games in the standings. With 5 games, winning this 3 games to 2 is not good enough. Vegas have to win 4 out of 5. Should bode well for the Cubs. Very similar scenario we had in the American League. Same number of games over 500. Same scenario. In that one, the White Sox split 4 games to end that series. All the Cubs need is to win a couple games to end the series. Here with Vegas, same scenario. And if you play poorly, Cubs, you invite the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates to come back and reclaim a division that they think is rightly theirs. Oh boy, folks. Oh boy, our Cubs who ride that roller coaster of joy and sadness, joy and pain. Game 1, opening up in Wrigley Field. Woody Fryman, last time we saw him, he played against Portland and blew an 8-0 lead, late, lost. They've had a few days off, so they've moved him back as the best pitcher on this team, even though he's not pitching on 3 days rest, or he is not capable of that, versus Fergie Jenkins. It's low scoring in the Windy City. Tommy Davis, solo homer off of Fergie. In the 5th, a leadoff double by Gray Gross. After a grounder moves him to third, a sac fly by Ron Hodges. It's 2-zip visitors. Cubs bats are cold. 2 hits through 5. 6th inning, Cardinal doubles after 2 outs. RBI single, Ron Santo, 2-1. In this affair, Fergie would go the distance. We kind of figured he will. The Cub bullpen is very shaky, and Fergie as a starter 9, we really need him to give the bullpen a day off. If he's pitching well, he pitched fantastic today. Unfortunately, the Cubs bats remained cold as a beer in a North Side bar. Strikeout, strikeout. 8th inning, they have a threat. Cardinal walks. Says, let's try a stolen base, see if that can get us started. He gets cut down stealing. The only fast guy on the Cubs. Wasting a Madlock single. Williams flies out. 8 innings for Fryman, 5 hits, a run, 2 walks, 6 Ks. They bring in closer Max Leon, who went to the All-Star game. 3 up and 3 down in the 9th, and the Cubs meekly leave Wrigley, losers 2-1. Oh boy. Well, Vegas still needs to win 4 out of 5, so all the Cubs need is a couple wins. So let's see what happens in Game 2 in Wrigley Field. Game number 2. It's Jim Lonborg, the All-Star for Vegas. He was 7-1 against Bert Hooton, having a decent year for the Cubs in this one. 2nd inning, you get a fly ball out to Jose Cardinal. Plays it into a 2-base error. Then a pass ball on catcher Tim Hosley, and then a sac fly. Unearned run, no hit, 1-0 visitors. Bottom of the second inning, Ron Santo, solo shot, 1-1. Again, no low-scoring affair. Vegas, the best defense in the sport, puts 5 1s out there when they want to, defensively, and some 2s. And solid pitching throughout. Not much hitting at all. Virtually no power, non-existent. So it's going to be a low-scoring slog and scrum for the Cubs in Vegas here. Bottom of the 6th inning, Madlock singles. Billy Williams, who's had better days and frankly better series, hits into a 5-4-3 double play. Then you get a Tim Hosley double. And then you get an Andre Thornton triple. He is stranded. They get a run. It's 2-1 Cubs. Meanwhile, our boy Bert Hooton, yeah, he's throwing a no-hitter through 6 innings. He's given up a run, unearned run, but he's got a no-hitter. Gives up a single to Tommy Davis in the 7th. It's a 1-hitter. We go to the 8th. Greg Gross walks. And then Barry Foote, only in the game because Ron Hodges got injured. Also, Tim Cullen got injured. So Vegas is already down 2 players in this game. Doesn't matter. Barry Foote off of the Bert Hooton card. Homer 1-10, fly ball the rest. 2-run homer. And the Vegas has 3 runs on 2 hits today. And the Cubs against Jim Lonborg, they just melted. They just melted. They just folded up. And they just went 0 for 10 to end the game. Jim Lonborg is having a heck of a year for Vegas as the ace. He's pumped. They're pumped. Vegas gets 2 straight in Chicago. So we go to the desert for game 3. Game number 3. It's Doug Rao, the weakest starter of the Cubs, versus Blue Moon Odom, weakest starter for Vegas. We expect fireworks. We get some. They get Doug Rao early and often. The bottom of the 1st inning for Vegas, very strange inning. You get a single. Greg Gross singles. Beniquez just wants to go to 3rd. It's 1-16. He gets thrown out. So then you have a walk. Then you have a walk. Then you have a walk. That scores a run. Then you hit a ground ball to Don Kessinger, and he kicks it. Then you get a double play grounder. I don't know who's luckier in this inning, the Cubs or Vegas. Because Vegas got a single, walk at error out of the first 6 batters and only scored 2 runs to the frame. So I'll call that a split on good luck, bad luck. 2nd inning, they're getting a Rowell again. Beniquez double. Greg Gross double. This is inexcusable. This team does not have decent offense. 4th inning, after 2 outs, a single to Gross. Parker reaches on an error to Glenn Beckert. And we've had enough of Rowell. Quick hook him. 3 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 4 walks. And bring in Lloyd Allen. And Lloyd does pretty well. He pitches 2 1/3 scoreless innings. While that's going on in a 3-0 Vegas lead, in the 4th inning, we have a Billy Williams solo shot to get out of a slump. In the 5th inning, Beckert singles, a flyout, Unser singles, a walk to Madlock, bases loaded walks to Andre Thornton and Billy Williams by Blue Moon Odom. Most pitchers would be hooked. Bases loaded, 1 out, Tim Hosley, Lomax to end the threat. Nothing quite like a Lomax or a double play to end a threat when teams are putting 5 and 6 men on base and scoring just a couple runs. And that's what happened there. That makes it 3-3. Cubs, they get a run in the 6th inning. A walk by Beckert and a RBI after a ground out RBI single Cardinal. And the Cubs have a lead, a rare one in the series. But in the bottom of the 7th, Don Hood, the 3rd Cub pitcher, comes in. Out, single, K, single, and then with 2 outs, Ken Berry, a double off his own card. It's a 4-4 tie. This would go extra innings, folks. And the Cubs just do not possess the pitchers to do extra innings. Nowhere close. And so they're crossing their fingers. Fortunately, Vegas is pretty awful, as their offense is. So this game lasts until the 11th inning. Ray Burris is asked to go. He's the closer. He's asked to go 4 innings. He goes 3 innings. You get a triple to former Cub Barry Foote. Oh boy. on Vegas. A walk, a ground out, and then it's Tim Cullen with the RBI walk-off single. And extra inning defeat, despair, disaster for the Chicago Cubs. Losers of 3 straight, all by a run or 2. The opportunistic Las Vegas team gets the victory. Danny Frizella, former New York Met, gets the win relief. Burris gets the loss. 3 of the Cub relievers had to pitch deep in the game because of Doug Rowell pulled in the 4th. Let's look at the overall standings. Vegas rips off 3 straight wins. They need 1 more win. This series is over. Here it is. Here's Vegas. Check these guys out. They're now 7 over 500. The Cubs are now 5 over 500. And look at this, folks. Look at the Reds and Pirates. Hello, reality. It's called reality, folks. It's starting to set in on the Cubs that maybe they're not that good. They're not. And they have a half-game lead and a game-and-a-half lead. Reds will play the Diamondbacks. Pirates will play the Rockies in those series coming up later. But right now, the Cubs, there's a decent chance they could fall out of first place by the end of this tournament. Probably should still get in the playoffs as a wild card team if they can hold on to the division. But you can't be screwing around in this stuff. They're not going to be eliminated. Like I said, these first round matchups of first place teams, of top seeds, you don't get eliminated. But mathematically you shouldn't anyway. And again, let's, looking at the standings one more time here. If it is a 4-game sweep, they're still 22 and 18, 4 games over 500, tied with the Reds, still better than the Pirates, still better than all these other teams. Hangers on over there, better than those guys. You see the pattern. So it would have to be a colossal flop for the Cubs to completely miss the playoffs altogether. There, I said it. Okay, which brings us today to a Game 4 in Las Vegas. Cubs need to win this to avoid a 4-game sweep. Game 5 would be back in Wrigley Field. If the Cubs win that, they would technically win the series 2-3, meaning that their overall record will be better than Las Vegas. Let me illustrate that again so there's no confusion here. If the Cubs rip off 2 straight wins, they would be 7 over 500 and Vegas would be 5 over 500. That's the point of the seeds meeting. Cubs have a better seed than Vegas. If they win 2 straight, they would still have a better seed than Vegas. But right now, it's looking gloomy in the desert for the visitors. Today's starting pitchers for the Cubs, perfect timing. Plus, after a day off, it's Fergie Jenkins, starter 9. He's gonna throw a complete game. I can just tell you that right now. I mean, after all the bullpen use in yesterday's game, they need Fergie to go 9. He will, avoiding injury or some other hideousness, he will go 9. And for Vegas, first time we've seen Ken Brett in this series. Ken was a Philly in 73, 13-9, 3.44 ERA, and 212 innings. Cubs have juggled their lineup trying to get some offense. The top 4 hitters are the best 4 hitters they have on the roster against left-handed pitching. They've moved Andre Thornton and Bill Madlock down in the lineup to 6 and 7. We haven't seen Madlock that low in the lineup since the beginning of his rookie year. So let's get started. Leading off for the Cubs, as a spark plug, Carmen Funzone. 47, single 1 and 2 off Brett. He lines out. Ron Santo playing shortstop today. 5'11", second X. Cullen's a 2E32. Makes the play. He'll start the game at short, will Santo, and finish it at third at some point. And number 3 hitter is now Jose Cardinal, formerly leading off. 58. He strikes out. Bottom of 1, it's Ken Boswell. 1-9, single 1 to 8. Cannot get it. Tommy Davis, 47, strikes out. Wes Parker, 1-5, walks. And Juan Beniquez, 65, off the Fergie card, double 14, gets it. Second and third, 2 outs. Big moment here. Greg Gross, here's the pitch. 58, flies to right. Top of 2, it's Jim Hickman. 56, Double 105, a base hit. Billy Williams, 612, pitcher B. Andre Thornton, 35 is a walk. 2 on for Bill Madlock. And Bill Madlock, let's take a look at Bill's card of 1974. 313 average, 500 plate appearances. They've been finagling Santo and Madlock at third and a designated hitter to get them all in the lineup to get some offense. But Madlock has struggled in this tournament, so they moved him down to 7. He's much better against righties than lefties. But here, 1-7 is double 1-2. We got an RBI single. That will score Williams, sending Thornton to third with 1 out. Beckert, A. Bunner. Infield will come up for Glenn Beckert. 1-7 for Glenn is single 1-3, and he lines out on a 10. And Randy Hundley, 6'11", first X. But you got Wes Parker, one of those ones. Anytime you need some defense to end an inning, Vegas has it. Plenty of it. All right. Bottom of the second, 1-0 Cubs. It'll be Tim Cullen. 5-10, catcher's X. This is Hundley, a 2-3 catcher. 1 out. Ron Hodges. 67, double 111 off Fergie's a base hit. Easy Ed Brinkman. 1-7's a pop to second. Number 9 hitter Ken Berry. 36 is a walk. 2 on, 2 outs. Back up top, Ken Boswell. 1-4, let's take a look at the Ken Boswell card. He was with the Mets and the Astros in the 70s. Nice little left-handed second, third baseman type. Good on base percentage usually. Sometimes he can hit lefties, sometimes he cannot. So he's mostly a platoon player, just righties only. Bad defense usually. 1975, a 242 average, limited playing time. But 1-4 is double 1-17, gets the 17, and we have a tie game. Second and third, 1 out. Infield's going to come up for Tommy Davis. 2-5 for Tommy's a base hit to right field. 1 run scores. Boswell, 11 runner will hold. Vegas takes the lead. Runners of the corners, 1 out. Bringing the infield up for Wes Parker. 62, first C. Runner at third holds. Runner at first goes to second. Second and third, 2 outs for a cleanup hitter, Juan Beniquez. And by the way, let's take a look at the cards I'm talking about this. Yeah, Juan Beniquez is the cleanup hitter. If you can guess his home runs, well, you don't have to. He had 5. Your cleanup hitter's got 5 home runs. Hit 267. Does have power, which is nice. Here's the pitch to Juan Beniquez. 2-6 is a grounder to short. Inning is over. Oddly enough, if Tommy Davis didn't advance on the infield up grounder, they would have been holding him at first, and that would have been a single. So that's the break for the Cubs. We go to the third. 2-1 Vegas. The Carmen Fun Zone. 65, second. Ron Santo, 5-10's a walk. Jose Cardinal, 2-8 is a 6-4-3 double play. Bottom of the third, it's Greg Gross, 57 is a K. Tim Cullen, 112. Lomax. And Ron Hodges, 35 is a walk. Easy Ed Brinkman, 2-7 is single 1-3 for the 203 hitter. And he lines out. Yep, another low-scoring affair as per norm here in the desert. Top of the fourth, Jim Hickman. 4-4, third X. This is the break you get. You have Boswell, not A-Rod today. 4-23 third baseman. Got to take advantage of this if you're the Cubs. They do. They get a base hit. So that's a mistake by Vegas. Not really a mistake. They do have Mike Anderson, a 1, and A-Rod, a 1 on the bench. But they're also up 3 games in the standings. So Billy Williams, 67, flies to right. Andre Thornton, 35 is a walk. 2 on, 1 out. It's Bill Madlock had the RBI earlier. 56 off of Brett. Double 105. Base hit. We got a tie game. Runners in the corners. They're going to bring the infield up again for Glenn Beckert. A Bunner. 38, third A. So, again, the runner moves up to second. Second and third, 2 outs for Randy Hundley. 68, flies to right. Well, it's 2-2. Bottom of the fourth. It'll be Ken Berry. 2-11 pops to third. Ken Boswell. 1-3, saw the card earlier, triple 1-17. And he gets the... He misses the triple 1-17, gets another double. So he hit double 1-17 on a 17, misses triple 1-17 with a 19. If you caught all that, that gives him 2 doubles. Runner at second, 1 out, Tommy Davis. 1-6, let's take a look at the Tommy Davis card this time. He got the RBI single in the second inning. Davis was an Oriole in 73, designated hitter, probably theirs. 580 plate appearances, could play a little bit of first base. He used to play some second base and some outfield and fun stuff like that. Beast Stealer, 1-9 runner, very weird to see that. Hits righties better than lefties, also a forte of his. And 1-6 is triple 1-5, and that is a triple. Oh boy, Cubs, here we go again. Fergie's getting knocked around in a must-pitch game, must-win game, must-pitch-well game. 3-2 Vegas, runner at third, 1 out, infield comes up, Wes Parker. 55, second C. A lot of second C's, a lot of bringing the infield up and hitting ground balls to the second baseman and runners not running. Juan Beniquez, 2-9 short. Well, 3-2. A grinded out affair in the desert at the Riviera Hotel parking lot. They throw some bases out there, put up a chain link fence, start playing. Carmen Fun Zone. They're going to build a stadium in 2026. 47, single 1-2, he lines out. Actually, there's no Riviera Casino anymore. They knocked that thing down. Ron Santo, 34, grounds to short. Jose Cardinal, 58, strikes out. Inning over. Oh boy. Bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
In the bottom of the fifth, it will be Greg Gross leading off. 49 pops out. Tim Cullen, 5'11", second X. Becker's a 3E22. Whoops. Thanks to play. And Ron Hodges, 65. Homer 1-3, double the rest. Oh, he doesn't have power. So he rolls Homer 1-3, gets the 1, and that's a bad thing. He doesn't have power because the team doesn't. He had 1. That's a single. By the way, homers. He had 1. Brinkman had 6. Barry had 5. Boswell had none. Davis had 7. Parker had 4. I mentioned Beniquez earlier with 5. Gross with none. And Tim Cullen with none. On the bench, you've got A-Rod with 9. Barry Foote with 11. And Mike Anderson with 9. The power will come off the bench in this game. 2 outs, man at first, Ed Brinkman. 39, grounds a third. You know, I really got to thank Vegas because they play quick baseball games other than when I continually start jabbering like I am in this one. Well, it's an elimination game, and it's a Cub failure. They're always fun to talk about. Top of the 6th, Jim Hickman. 2-8, base hit. Billy Williams, 2-7, 3-6-3, double play. Andre Thornton, 2-7, walk. Bill Madlock, 1-5, you saw that card. He's on today, folks. He put him down the lineup. Homer, 1-9, double the rest. We get double the rest. Andre Thornton, a 9 runner. 10-11. Zero arm in center. Glenn Beckert on deck. Oh, I think I'm going to run on an 11. And I score on a 4. So the Cubs, desperate, run Thornton. He scores. We're tied at 3. Madlock's driven in all the runs out of the 7 slot. He's at second with 2 outs for Glenn Beckert. 66 off a Brett is a base hit to left field, and Madlock will run. This will be close. He's a 15, a 16, 17. Gross, though, has a +1 arm, making it an 18. He rolls a 17 and scores. And the Cubs get another break. They have the lead, 4-3. Randy Hundley, 45, pops to first. Ken Brett's a starter 8, so they'll leave him in there. As the Cubs take the lead for Fergie. He's blown that lead. He's blown the tie. He's gotten another lead. It's just a one-run game, though. It'll be Ken Berry. 2-7, grounds to short. Ken Boswell, 54, lines to short. And with 2 outs, it's Tommy Davis, 57 to K. We go to the 7th. Ken Brett continues. It's Carmen Fun Zone. 52, flies to center field. He went over. He's just a utility player. And mental note, we'll put Kessinger up there at the bottom of the inning and move our boy over to third base and put Madlock at DH. So, yeah. Proving the defense ahead of time. Ron Santo, 1-6. K's. Jose Cardinal, 410. Center X. Don't have to roll, folks, because Ken Berry's a 1-0. 4-3 thriller. Again. Oh, before you even go to the bottom half, we're going to put Del Unser, good defensive outfielder, in there for either Hickman or Madlock. I'm going to lose Hickman. Madlock's been too valuable today. Okay. Stretch time in Las Vegas. We're listening to some fine Ethio jazz, folks. Ethio Peaks, Molatua Statki. Ethio jazz from 69 to 74. Boy, this is one of the better ones too, folks. I can't pronounce this stuff. I like listening to it. It makes me feel really good and bring it to you folks. So yeah, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce any of these, but I like them all. There you go. Ethio jazz, 69 to 74. Bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 7th, excuse me. Fergie Jenkins. It'll be Wes Parker leading off. 210. Rolls a comebacker to the mound. Juan Beniquez. 2-3. Pops to short. You know, this is a team that just down a run, you can't think, oh, I'll get a solo homer and tie things up that way. It's like, no. No, it doesn't work for this team. You need like 2 or 3 hits to get a run. And they're slow guys. They don't go coast to coast very often either. Greg Gross, 1-3, rolls to first. Makes you wonder how the Cubs could have lost 3 straight to him. Doesn't it? Top of the 8th, Ken Brett's point of weakness inning. He'll face Del Unser. 36 is a K. Hickman would have singled or walked. He would have walked. Whoops. Billy Williams. 38 is a K. And Andre Thornton, 1-9, is a grounder to short. They're not going to make it any easier for Cubs fans. 4-3 game. Fergie continues. Bottom of the 8th. Number 6 hitter, Tim Cullen. 68 is a strikeout. Ron Hodges. The story of the game might be the fact that Barry Foote was on the bench and Hodges got the homer chance. And Fergie gives up homers, but you didn't have a guy with power in the lineup to get one. Hodges, 67, double into 11 is a base hit. 11 runner. Oh boy. How about a pinch runner? A-Rod is such a dreadful hitter. Let's put Aurelio Rodriguez as a 14 runner. He'll run for him. We'd rather have him running than hitting anyway. So I'll need a catcher, probably for Boswell before the 9th inning starts. We got a runner, 14 runner at second, at first with 1 out. And it's Ed Brinkman. Let's take a look at the Ed Brinkman card. This is always fun to do. I don't know if I'm helping his cause or hurting it. Just to announce that in the 1972 MVP voting, Ed Brinkman's in the top 10. He hit .203. 6 home runs, 19 doubles. It was the sparkling defense at short that got him on that list. One of the best defensive performances by a shortstop of the era. A 1E8. Boa would be a 1E7 later in the decade. And that's about it as the best defensive shortstop performances in Strat-O-Matic. We don't need a defensive performance. We need a stick. A. Bunning Brinkman with Barry, Boswell, and Davis all up after him. Yeah, we're going to drop one down for Ed Brinkman. We got a better chance of bunting for a single than swinging the bat. Here's the bunt. The bunt is good. 311, which would have been in the hit zone on this card. It would have been a strikeout anyway, which is really, really bad. But the bunt is good. So A-Rod is at second. Good base runner. And you've got number 9 hitter Ken Berry. Let's take a look at Ken. A 1E0 center fielder. Did it a few times, I believe, for the Angels. 1E0, 1E0, 1E4. 72, a 289 hitter. Nice little player. Yeah. And a chance to tie this thing up. Here's the pitch to Ken Berry. 6-12 off Fergie. Sky's a center. We go to the 9th. Brett. He'll continue. He'll face Madlock. 58. He's finally retired with a strikeout. Glenn Beckert. 211. Rolls to third. And Randy Hundley. 1-4. Rolls to third. Bottom of the 9th. A 4-3 game. All the players are in there that are playing. No defense to bring in. No bullpen warming. This is all Fergie Jenkins trying to get the Cubs, trying to will a win to the Cubs. He's thrown 128 pitches thus far. I don't know. Just guessing there, folks. And leading off, it will be the catcher, Barry Foote. He's the one who had to come in when A-Rod was inserted in the catching spot. So third base spot Boswell, we now have Barry Foote. Here's the pitch to Barry Foote. 4-4. You needed a 6-4, Barry. 4-4, third X. It's Santo. Started the game at short, is currently at third, a 2E26. That's an error on the E22 third baseman. That's how you convert this. E22 makes an error. He's an E26. He makes the error. So Foote reaches via the error to start the 9th. Oh, boy. He's a 10 runner. No pinch runner available. That brings up Tommy Davis. Not going to hit and run either. He'll have to swing away. He's had a nice day. He's got 2 hits. Tommy Davis has to stay out of the double play here. Here's the pitch. 1-7, Tommy Davis. Double 1 to 8. Gets the double on double 1 to 8. Oh, boy, folks. Here we go again. You know what's going to happen. They're only going to get 1 run and send this thing to extra innings. They're not going to win or lose it. That'd be too easy for me. Second and third, nobody out. Nobody warming. Not close to point of weakness. He's a starter 9, just 1 base runner. The last 2 frames. The infield will come up, obviously, for Wes Parker. And behind him, Beniquez is also an 8 bunter. There's no intentional walk, 1-2-3, 6-2-3, 4-2-3 double play. They're just going to have to pitch to Wes Parker. Here we go. Here's the pitch to Wes. 49 with the infield up as a pop to first. Now you got A. Bunning Beniquez. Now you got a realistic chance of doing a squeeze here. A bunter, second and third, 1 out. It's when I like to do it because that means I'll still have a guy at third if the guy gets cut down at the plate for Greg Gross. But I don't think I want to squeeze the tie. I'm just going to let Beniquez hit away here. Second and third, 1 out. Here's the pitch to Juan Beniquez. 2-9 is short A. So that is an out. Squeeze would have been an 8. Wouldn't have been any good. Mike Anderson is on the bench, but he hits lefties better than righties, which is why he's going to stay on the bench. And here it is. Here's your moment here. You got Greg Gross with Tim Cullen on deck. I'm not a fan of walking the bases loaded to face the next hitter because I think a bases loaded walk is a reasonable situation. Let's take a look at Greg Gross. Oh, he ain't going to win the game with a homer. We know that. Could win it with a single, though. Greg Gross, 540 plate appearances for the Astros in 75 with a 294 average. Eventually, he just becomes exclusively a pinch hitter in the National League for the Cubs and the Phillies, future Cub. And it'll be Greg Gross stepping in the box, second and third and 2 outs. Can Fergie convert the victory and continue the Cubs' run in this round of the tournament? Here's the pitch to Greg Gross. 52 is a fly to right field. And the Cubs have won the game, 4-3. Second and third, nobody out. Fergie found the magic, getting Parker, Benitez, and Gross all out. Complete game loss, and the Cubs are still alive in this series. And we'll go back to Wrigley Field for a Game 5. Battle of complete games. Fergie Jenkins beats Ken Brett. Vegas is still leading this series 3-1. We'll go back to Wrigley Field for Game 5, and we'll give you the results after the break, so stay tuned. All right, baseball fans, here's the box score of the Game 4 you just saw. Fergie Jenkins and the Cubs outlasting Vegas, thwarting the rally in the 9th. They win 4-3, first win in 4 attempts against Vegas. So it forces a Game 5 in Wrigley Field. A outcome that if the Cubs win, they would technically lose the series 3-2, but they would stay ahead of Vegas in the seeding in the National League. So let's see what happens. Cubs really need a win to keep Pittsburgh and the Cubs at bay. Pittsburgh and the Reds at bay. Woody Fryman for Vegas. Bert Hooton. He had a no-hitter through 6 last time out, and surrendered a late-inning home run. In this one, they start early off of Hooton. You get a Greg Gross double, Tim Cullen single after 2 outs, an RBI single, Ken Berry. It's 2-zip. But the mistakes start to pile up for Vegas, a team that, like I said, they have great defense, don't normally make them. You get an error in the second, error to the second baseman Cullen. Cardinal tries to run on a double and gets thrown out at the plate. So, big break for Vegas. Next inning, after 2 outs, another ground ball to Tim Cullen, who makes an error, followed by a Beckert single, and then a 2-out, 3-run homer by Randy Hundley, who has power, off of the Fryman card. Huge break for the Cubs there. 3 unearned runs, 3-2. 6th inning, after 2 outs, to get a fly ball to Benitez, who's a 3 in right field. If you got the ones and great defense, why not play them? They're on the bench. Mike Anderson's a 1 right fielder. Aurelio is a 1 third baseman. They're not starting. Gift run for the Cubs. It's 4-2. 8th inning, a double, an RBI single Hickman. It's 5-2. Writings on the wall. Vegas's offense is, well, it's pretty much the same offense we've seen the whole time, even though they won 3 games with it. They lose in Wrigley Field. 5-2 is the final. Bert Hooton goes 9 innings, 9 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 3 Ks. Pretty much a similar effort for Fryman, with his defense hurting him. 8 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, just 2 are earned. Did not walk a Cub. Struck out 6. So we'll just go plug in the result here while we're doing this for you. An unorthodox series victory for the Cubs, where they actually lost more games. So we'll go plug that in here. Vegas needed a 4-1, but the Cubs technically win the series. 2 wins and 3 losses. The Cubs are 24-17, and Vegas, well, look, overall they've closed the gap that was 8 over 500 and 4 over 500. The 8 has turned into a 7. The 4 has turned into a 5. Vegas is 21-16. So we'll put that in there. 21-16. I have to compute the number of games over 500 for this tournament result. I'll do that as well. And we'll temporarily go over here to the standings. Cubs presently stay seated ahead of Vegas. That was the point of that series. Had Vegas won that Game 5, they would have been tied with Vegas owning the tiebreaker, and Vegas would have moved into either the 2 or the 3, and the Cubs would have fallen into the 3rd or the 4. But it's getting interesting for the number 2 seed now, with the Cubs losing a half a game in the overall standings because the Mets have caught them at 595 ball. So they're currently sitting at number 2, which is a bye. The Cubs fall to a 3. Not only that, you still have the Reds breathing down their neck. Pirates can't catch the division, looks like, because the Cubs are steady enough, I will say. I'll qualify that. Steady enough. And it's going to come down to fun battles. Interesting. You've got the Arizona, Colorado teams that were come into existence in the 1990s. We gave them retro teams for the 70s. And each of these teams will battle each of these teams. That's your mission, Arizona, Colorado. Play 2 of the best teams in the National League in the 1970s to continue your season. Vegas did a nice job of protecting their division lead and probably going to win this division. I don't think Arizona has enough ammo to catch. Not to mention they got to play the Reds. The Rockies can upset the Pirates, which is a long get. They have a chance of possibly getting close to Vegas to tie for the division, but yeah. The chalk looks like what the chalk looks like. 3, 5, and 6 the way it is presently. That's kind of what it's looking like right now. The Reds and Pirates would really have to fall on their face, but most importantly, the Reds and Pirates are going to have to play in the second and third round of the tournament plus the playoffs. They can't afford to lose any more series. They got to win every series they participate in, or their seasons are over. For 2 World Series, the last 2 representatives for the National League in the World Series. That's it today. Break up the Chicago Cubs. They survive Las Vegas 2-3. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.